Well, hello, yes, it's the old Get Back here again. Been away for a few weeks because I've been upgrading some of the hardware, software that I have, and believe me, it's been no easy task. So I wasn't able to make any videos, which I'm going to make up for now. But anyway, one of the things that has happened is that one of the pieces that I bought some equipment so I could actually stream to more places, and now I stream to 4 different platforms. But what it's done, and until I get over this, I'll have to see, it's probably something to do with settings, it stopped me going live because the machine can't handle it. Not the new machine, but the old machine, if you know what I mean. Anyway, it's all technical stuff. But I'm back, and I'm back with a vengeance, because I'm really, really getting worried for Britain, Europe, and basically the rest of the world. There are lots of things are going on now which are really bad. I mean, Syria, for example, we just heard that the new government there said originally, oh, we will protect everybody, and now they're rounding up Christians and murdering and abusing them, which is bad. Also, I'm just setting the scene for what I'm going to be talking about today, because there's so much, and I can't put it all in one video, so I'm going to just run through what I can and just bring you up to date with a few things. But the Syrian thing is getting really serious. Christians are now getting rounded up, and I say murdered, abused. I was watching videos the other day of them lying face down whilst they're battered with the butts of rifles and beat up in the back of trucks, and all sorts of things going on in Syria. So there you go, another attack on the Christian faith, and that's only going to get worse. But today I want to talk about the idiot Prime Minister that we have. But we'll set the scene for this, because he's played a blinder. Donald Trump, I'm talking about now. Donald Trump has played a blinder. He's actually, he is the man who can get things moving. Whether he moves them in the right direction, I don't know. But I do know this: he is doing exceptionally well in getting people motivated to do what they should do. But it started off with a speech. Well, let him explain about the people here in Europe who are not paying their way in NATO, and he set them, lined them all up, and he gave them a talking to. Let's have a listen to that first, shall we?
I have been very, very direct with Secretary Stoltenberg and members of the alliance in saying that NATO members must finally contribute their fair share and meet their financial obligations. But 23 of the 28 member nations are still not paying what they should be paying and what they are supposed to be paying for their defense. This is not fair to the people and taxpayers of the United States. And many of these nations owe massive amounts of money from past years and not paying in those past years. Over the last 8 years, the United States spent more on defense than all other NATO countries combined. If all NATO members had spent just 2% of their GDP on defense last year, we would have had another $119 billion for our collective defense and for the financing of additional NATO reserves.
Well, there you go. He's laid it on the line. He's saying, basically, because of the lack of contributions from the other NATO members, he's come out swinging. He's saying, look, America's not going to be the policeman of the world and take everything from their economy when they're not paying their way. And rightly or wrongly, I think he's right. There's a lot of countries who are in NATO who don't pay their way, who expect America to pick up the tab for everything. And it's time that all the NATO members pay their way. and there must be some payback for the American people. Now, of course, the man that's really making me angry, and this is what it's about, that's just a preamble there, is Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer is an absolute idiot. He's obviously listened to that. He thinks, oh, I'm going to be the globalist. I'm going to stick my chest out. I'm going to do something. So anyway, what does Keir Starmer do? Well, he goes out and he gets on a train and he goes out to see Mr. Zelensky. Oh, I'm going to show that Britain is leading the way in this. So what does Starmer do? Fall straight into the trap that Donald Trump is setting for the rest of Europe. Well, who's first to fall for it? Of course, Keir Starmer. Let's have a look at this, shall we?
Arriving on an overnight train from the Polish border, the British Prime Minister is hoping his first visit to Kiev will send a powerful message at a critical time. The UK has already committed billions in immediate support for Ukraine. This trip is about promising to still be there in the long term. It began by laying wreaths side by side with Volodymyr Zelensky to honour those killed on the battlefield. If he needed any reminder of what Ukraine is up against, the sound of air defences repelling a Russian drone attack could be heard nearby. Then a walk through the streets of Kiev to see the destruction for himself, followed by a visit to a local hospital where patients laid bare the reality of this war.
Because if Ukraine falls, there won't be Europe.
I completely agree, and it's so important that we must and we will stand with Ukraine for as long as it's possible. That's why I'm here.
It's also why the UK has pledged a century-long pact with Ukraine to take the friendship to the next level. Beyond military aid, it will boost maritime security and include a system to track stolen grain from occupied territories. And beyond that, a commitment to build economic and cultural ties in areas like science, technology and education.
I'm proud to speak for the whole of the United Kingdom when I say we are with you, not just today or tomorrow, for this year or the next, but for 100 years, long after this terrible war is over.
The Ukrainian president echoed that sentiment.
We are confident in the independence of our state, and this is something Ukrainians will never give away. We are confident in our European partners, and this is something that strengthens Ukraine, Britain and the whole Euro-Atlantic space.
The visit comes days before Donald Trump returns to the White House in the US. Both leaders know that regardless of European support, the US's role is vital. Visits like these may be seen as reflecting concerns that change in leadership may redefine Western support.
Well, if you could read that properly, and if you could understand that properly, I mean, he's out there promising support and offering money. He's taken the bait that Mr. Donald Trump has put out there. And he's going to go running out to Donald Trump now, and he's going to say, "Oh, Uncle Donald, I'm the best European leader because look at me. Of course, we'll protect the borders of Ukraine." And he did say he'd put boots on the ground. Hang on, stop there. Protect the borders? He can't even stop rubber dinghies landing on the British border. So I don't know what he's going to do about stopping Russian troops entering the Ukraine. He's a complete maniac. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's not a trooper. He just wants to feel and look good. And bugger, it doesn't matter what happens to the English population, does it? Now, he's also went, I'm just going to read this because he went on to pledge the Ukraine the strongest possible position on it, which he did, and he signed a landmark 100-year pact with a war-stricken country. That's very clever, isn't it? Now he's tied to that country for 100 years, and now you poor people in Britain who are already on the edge of starvation, well, not really, but you know what I mean, are going to have to pay for all this. In fact, he's already given 12.8 billion to Ukraine. And what he's going to say, what he said now, what he's promised, is that he's going to give, he's given a commitment to Ukraine for 3 billion every year for as long as it takes. The man is a complete idiot. He wanted to be first before he got there before Macron. And I don't know if you noticed, when on the last video, on the last clip, where they were all standing there listening to Donald Trump lay down the law, Macron's face, he looks like a clown, doesn't he? He's a total clown, I think he is. So there's two clowns together there, they love each other. I think they've got a bit of a love fest going on between Starmer, Starzy, Starmer the Harmer, and all the other names he's called, and of course Macron there. Now meanwhile, now that he's got them motivated, of course, Starmer's the first one to fall into the trap. Donald Trump is giving a press conference. Listen to what he says about giving or making a backstop or helping out to solve the Ukrainian problem. Listen carefully to this next little clip and see what you think.
Mr. President, on Ukraine, would you provide military support for Ukraine in the future under a peace agreement?
Say it again louder.
Would you provide military support for Ukraine in the future as part
You mean
of
like
the peace
security?
agreement? Yeah.
Well, people are going to do it. I think Europe will largely be responsible for that.
But
European countries will be responsible.
But Macron asked for a U.S. backup.
Well, we'll see. I mean, right now we're just in the process of negotiating. We've pretty much negotiated our deal on raw earth and various other things. We'll be looking at that security. You're talking about general security for Ukraine later on. I don't think that's going to be a problem. There are a lot of people that want to do it. And I spoke with Russia about it. They didn't seem to have a problem with it. So I think they understand. They're not going back in. Once we do this, they're not going back in.
Did you hear that? Well, Mr. President, they asked him, the reporter asked him about providing a backstop for Ukraine, you know, support. And he said, oh, no, we don't have to worry about that because there's plenty of people who are going to step up, you know, like Europe will take care of that. There's plenty of people for that. Yes, but she said, well, hang on, what about America? Oh, well, you know, we spoke to Russia. They have no trouble with it. So the people in Europe can take care of that. The man is a clever man. He's motivated them to do something, because if they don't do something, he isn't going to do anything. He wants a deal. He wants some return on his money, and that's why he's asking for the mineral rights. And I don't blame him. Every country in the world, every European country, doesn't care about the people who live there and have to survive in Europe. They care about their big chests sticking out, their globalists, and of course, Trump cares about America, and you can't blame him for what he's doing. So he's dropped them right in it, hasn't he? Well, of course, England's dropped themselves in it now. We're promising 3.8 billion every year until it stops, and Mr. Lewinsky will get richer and richer. No, I don't think he's that bad, but you know, more people will die, and that's the sad part of it. So he says we're in negotiations. Okay, Trump says we're in negotiations. Yes, for minerals, and if he gets the minerals, he'll probably provide the backstop. Otherwise, it'll be down to the idiots like Starmer and Macron and others in the European states there to fend off Putin and his army. Putin doesn't care. He'll just carry on. Now, the next thing was Starmer goes back to America, sticking his chest out. Now, I find this video a little strange with the behaviour of Keir Starmer. I want you to watch it, and it gives me a little bit of the creeps. So he goes back to Ukraine to meet to meet Donald Trump, Keir Starmer does, and well, this meeting for me was, as I said, have a look at it.
It's my pleasure to bring from His Majesty the King a letter. He sends his best wishes and his regards, of course, but he also asked me to bear this letter and bring it to you. So can I present the letter from the King?
Thank you very much.
It's an invitation for a second state visit.
That is really nice. I must make sure his signature's on that.
What I haven't got yet is your answer. I do need to.
The answer is yes.
In a moment of real danger around the world, this relationship matters more than ever. I see the growing threats we face, and so the UK is all in. This year we'll be giving more military aid to Ukraine than ever, and just this week I've set out how we're shouldering more of the security burden. We're already one of the biggest spenders in NATO, and now we're going much further, delivering Britain's biggest sustained increase in defence spending since the Cold War.
Well, I tell you what gives me the creeps. He's got this edge of the seat thing. He's sort of pouring and fawning like a little girl on a first date. Look, Mr. President, I brought you a present from the King of England. Yes. And he's sitting there, and our relationship, he's thinking, oh, our relationship has got to be good because I've just put 3.8 billion for the rest of my life if nothing changes in Ukraine. But Donald Trump, he graciously accepts the invitation, but he's actually probably thinking, if you could put a bubble above Donald Trump's head, he's probably thinking, well, good luck with that one, my friend. Dropped yourself right in it. I'll take a state visit, no problem. Could do with a bit of a few rounds of golf in Scotland, so I'll pop over there. But he's laughing. Donald Trump is laughing. He's manipulating people. You all think he's a crazy man. He's not a crazy man. He might do things in an unconventional way, but he gets things done. But now, Britain and Europe, they're stuck. And he's even stopped the intelligence, people giving intelligence to the Ukrainians, showing them where to fire their guns. Because until he gets his deal, why should he do anything? I mean, I'm being hard. I don't like to see people killed and shot dead for the sake of politics and bits of land, but that's what's going on. And the people at the top, they never suffer. They always survive. It's only the poor people on the ground that get killed and maimed and all the rest of it. So, next little thing in his plan, just after I think Starmer was there, Trump had to get Zelensky in a position of, oops, what we're going to do now. But I do feel that it was a little bit bad the way they did it when they met in the Oval Office, and Zelensky was shouted down, and the riot act, we want your minerals, said America, we don't work for free, and I'm sure he's going to get one. But just to refresh your mind, I think this was a bit of bad double teaming there. I've seen this happen before. I've never seen it happen in politics, but it's a tactic that businessmen sort of use it in good cop and bad cop. But I think this was both bad cops.
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come to the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
Well, you saw what happened. I think it's that particular clip's gone viral everywhere. Everybody's seen it. But as I said, now the whole of Europe is jumping up and down. What we're going to do. And of course, Billy Big Balls, Keir Starmer, he hasn't been called that before, Billy Big Balls, but he is, decides, I'm going to call a meeting of all the European, I'm going to show them who's boss, get them all over to London and we'll have a meeting and what to do, you know. So then the schoolboy politician, Starmer the Harmer, calls a meeting of the European leaders to discuss what they can do. They can give big promises, but when they walk away, well, let's watch a bit of how it went and then we'll talk some more. But here they go. He's having this meeting and how they're going to make a commitment to the Ukraine. But
gathered here today because this is a once-in-a-generation moment for the security of Europe, and we all need to stay up.
Italy's leader, Giorgia Meloni, came to Downing Street first. Her country is not regarded as whiter than white on defence spending, though she is trying to increase it. She's also the only European leader who attended Donald Trump's inauguration. In fact, there's no shortage of bridge builders, with Emmanuel Macron on the job as well.
Can Europe defend itself without America, Mr. President?
Gone are the days when a British leader would have envied a French president for getting to Washington first. Now it's the more the merrier. Anybody who can persuade Mr. Trump not to walk away.
European countries have to do more and provide a security guarantee, and that's what I'm discussing with President Macron and others. It's what I'll be discussing today. But I've always been clear that that is going to need a US backstop, because I don't think it would be a guarantee without it. I don't think it would be a deterrence without it. So the two have to go.
While Volodymyr Zelensky was being comforted in London by a fellow Trump target, Justin Trudeau of Canada. The US president wants access to the mineral wealth of both countries, and American officials are still urging Zelensky to sign up to a minerals deal. Last night, Russian drones hit a house in southwestern Ukraine, a reminder of what is at stake here 3 years after Russia's invasion. And the Russians are far more keen to strike a deal with Mr. Trump to end it than to involve the Europeans at all.
Now they are talking about peacekeepers. They say, we are training thousands of people that they will be provided with air cover. This is arrogance, because nobody is asking us. But Trump, he understands everything.
We urgently have to rearm Europe. And for that I will present a comprehensive plan how to rearm Europe on the 6th of March, when we have our European Council to the leaders.
First, we will keep the military aid flowing and keep increasing the economic pressure on Russia to strengthen Ukraine now. Second, we agreed that any lasting peace must ensure Ukraine's sovereignty and security, and Ukraine must be at the table. Third, in the event of a peace deal, we will keep boosting Ukraine's own defensive capabilities to deter any future invasion. Fourth, we will go further to develop a coalition of the willing to defend a deal in Ukraine and to guarantee the peace. Not every nation will feel able to contribute, but that can't mean that we sit back. Instead, those willing will intensify planning now with real urgency. The UK is prepared to back this with boots on the ground and planes in the air. Together with others, Europe must do the heavy lifting. But to support peace in our continent and to succeed, this effort must have strong US backing. We're working with the US on this point after my meeting with President Trump last week. And let me be clear, we agree with the President on the urgent need for a durable peace. Now we need to deliver together.
Well, that little bit at the end makes me laugh. We will put boots on the ground. We haven't got enough soldiers or airmen or anything else to fill Wembley Stadium. But there's a little twist to all that, and we'll give air defence, blah, 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 whatever he says he's going to do. And then there was the other bit that he dropped in there. There was, oh, some nations can't afford it. No, neither can we. Isn't you know, charity begins at home first, and believe me, the British people are getting no charity. In fact, I've got a flyer behind something, but anyway, in fact, the British people are getting sent further and further down, and this man is destroying British culture. All sorts of things are going wrong, and he's out there giving it Billy's big one. Doesn't he understand that in 1939, when Churchill and all the rest of them, and in the Second World War, Britain was an empire. Britain was a big, powerful machine. You know what Britain is today? It's a place full of the dross of the world. The white indigenous people are becoming less and less. They have no value. They're reducing them to second-class citizens now. We have no industry. We have no power. We have virtually no army or defence. What we have is tantamount to Putin dropping a bomb at the top in John O'Groats and one at the bottom in Cornwall, wherever it is at the bottom, Devon, boom, and England's finished, because we are not a superpower anymore. And when you understand that, maybe you can understand that what you're doing is wrong. Okay? And lots of other things you're doing is wrong. So who does he think he is? He thinks he's a clever man. I've been on this earth 71 years and I know this man is a complete idiot, like his cabinet, like Angela Rayner, 1.5 million houses. Got to give them all to these migrants, these invaders who are coming into your country, who are also, as far as I'm concerned, amongst them is a fifth column. Now, it doesn't all rest on the Muslims, although the Muslims, the Islamists, the ones who are radicals, are wanting to change the world, and this is it become to become a UK, to become an Islamic country, and they're pushing for this. Not all, because a lot of the Muslims who've settled here, who've had a good life and do well, they are afraid of these people too, just as much as we are. They will conform to what these people say because they're afraid. They know what they're capable of. They know that they don't care if they kill their children. They know they don't care. They don't care. So before you blame every Muslim, do not do it, because it's not all of them. A lot of Muslims are much afraid of these people who are now forcing themselves upon them, like they've just done in Syria. And in Syria they said, oh, we'll take care of everybody. It's a free country now, and already they're killing Christians, and it's going to go on and on. And one of my next videos, it's going to be quite radical, and I'm sorry, but it's going to point out that people who said that that the UK would be taken over by 2050 are now revising that to 2030. Some people are forecasting that. But that's another subject. I haven't finished with this yet. So, who does Keir Starmer think he is? What have we got for a government? Well, we know he certainly doesn't know how to behave as a politician. He certainly allows politicians to run rings around him, and he's got no cojones to face up to anybody. I mean, what he's done so far in the UK, he stifled freedom of speech. One of the fundamental rights of the UK and of most of Europe is freedom to say what you want to say when you can. If it hurts somebody, then they can complain, or they'll give you a sock on the nose, or whatever it is. I mean, we're all good. We all know about good and bad taste, but we all know that what we want to say, we should be able to say. And that is stifling. He's giving prison sentences to people who oppose I think he's a communist, his commie ideals. And these are the people who speak out, and if they speak out, they end up in prison, like Tommy Robinson. I'll mention his name, Tommy Robinson. There's far more terrible things being shown on TikTok and on X and on many others, where you've got people openly saying that they're going to take over the country, for example. These radical Islamists, we're going to take over the country. You can either conform and change your religion, or you can pay jizya, whatever it's called, you pay, or you can die. Openly. He's not said anything like that. He's never been that extreme, but it's on every one of the platforms that I can find. You can find extremists talking like this. But this will, I'm going to get loads of clips of real people, things that have been fact checked that they're real. And how is it the King of England, and now I'm going to have a go at him, he's supposed to be the defender of the faith. And what does he have? He has Islamic ceremonies performed in Buckingham Palace, was it, or wherever it was. It's not right. Everybody should be able to practice their religion. I don't care what their religion are. But at the same time, they shouldn't impose or threaten death if you don't follow theirs. But anyway, he's also, like I said, he's making the indigenous white person, but not white people. We've got Sikhs, we've got Hindus, we've got Chinese, we've got many other people of different religions who have come over the last 20, 30 years, and they've conformed, they keep to their religion, they follow their ways, but they conformed and they fit in with English culture and values. We've got people who come from West India, from Nigeria. Most of them are Christian. What's he going to do with them? Convert them all to or die? I don't know. Anyway, but the worst thing is that the white indigenous person is now becoming the underclass of the UK. And he's allowing the whole of British culture to be eroded. Two-tier policing, passing laws in favour of the group that hate us the most, with this new blasphemy law that he's going to bring out. How can you do that? It goes totally against your own people, the indigenous people of this country. The people who've only been here for the last 30 years are now more important than people who've built the country, fought 2 world wars, and all of a sudden you don't count. And the other thing that he's doing, which is really, he's just decided to do, is he's going to be cutting the welfare budget from the poorest to save $6 billion a year to send abroad to take care of the illegal invaders. Now, just before I leave you, I think I should say, in short, what he's doing is raping the UK, and he has no mandate from the British people, and he would say he was given over a mandate by the enormous election win. It was the lowest turnout ever. He got to be leader by default. If people were to vote again today, I'm sure they would vote very, very differently. He thinks, he doesn't, I mean, he's taking us towards the Third World War. Was he mandated for that? He's supporting countries over Britain. He's supporting people who aren't from Britain. He's allowing millions to come in and settle who we don't know who they are. There's so much that's going on that I've been trying to get on and talk to you about, but this has really wound me up. So the old git is not very happy. I am not happy, and I'm sure a lot of people are. Now look, get in touch with me. You've got all the ways to do it there. Look, you can email me at bestbeforetv@gmail.com, or you can go on X at bestbeforet, and you can go to the website where you can watch the TV programs which are on all the time, and get in touch with me. Let me know what you think. I'm not, if you can tell me that things are going to be great, I'd love for somebody to come back and say, no, don't worry, Michael, don't worry, the old gits. You settle down. Have a Coca-Cola and a pasty or something. Relax. No, nobody can make me relax. I don't live in England, and if I did, I'm surely I'd be in trouble by now. But the thing is, I would like to live in England, but it's not only happening in England because, you know, Spain has its problems too, in places like Barcelona, Madrid, Seville, just as it is in Belgium, in Holland, Germany, and I like to see German police are cracking down a bit hard, which is good. France is virtually no good anymore. Sweden been taken over. They want Sharia law. It looks like they're going to get it in some places. It's got to stop. Do you not understand that you are too nice? Call it for what it is. When you've got good people like Zia Youssef, Ben Habib, who come from that background, who are telling you, when you get sheikhs coming on, coming onto the social media from Saudi Arabia and insisting and talking in English and saying, you in the West have got more radical Islamists in Europe than we will ever have in Saudi Arabia. What does that tell you? It tells you that you're being completely idiotic. And finally, I've got to say that there's certain people now who, I've heard through the grapevine, I should say it really, but they are not happy to the extent that they want to start some kind of situation, I don't know, something to bring the government down. I don't mean violence, I don't know what it is. I mean, they've been speaking to me about things like civil disobedience, closing ports down, striking once a week, everybody. They say, we know people will suffer, but people are suffering now. So let's suffer for something good and, you know, bring the country to its knees so it has to form a new government. I've heard that talk. I don't particularly, I don't disagree with it. I think it might be something you may have to do. But Keir Starmer, turn yourself around. Listen to the people of the country. Listen to what they want, not what you want, not what your silly government want. You are rated below Jeremy Corbyn, and he's a man who I could stamp on like a cockroach. I hate him. And you're rated below him. Come on, pick yourself up. Do something about saving the UK at least. Anyway, that's all I've got to say today. I hope you get in touch with me. Let me know if you disagree with me or you agree with me, whatever it is. I'm here. You can talk to me anytime. You can send me messages, and I do reply. My next video will be quite controversial, but you have to put on general release to everybody, not just to the few. And believe me, what I've been watching in the last few weeks is not very good for anybody that's my colour at all. Alright, there we go. Take care, and hopefully I'll speak to you very, very soon. Until the next time, it's the old Git saying, be careful, be safe, and we'll talk to you very, very soon.